Hi, I'm Jason Loughlin, and this is Home Recording for Guitarists presented on the UA Apollo. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get a classic jazz guitar sound using UA's plugins. Alright, so I'm going to play you this guitar sound so you could hear it, and then I'll talk to you about the plugins that I chose and the order that I chose to put them in the signal chain here. Okay, so really pretty classic guitar sound. And with this signal chain here, I have a lot of possibilities for tweaking. So first off, I chose the 55 Tweed Deluxe for my amplifier, for all you Kenny Burrell fans. So that's going first, and that's going in that unison slot to make sure I have matched impedance. With all these, I have really super low latency. So this is... just to reiterate, I've said this in other videos, the latency is so low here that you get more latency setting up an amp 5 feet behind you than you do in one of these slots here. All right, next I am hearing that amplifier in a room. So I chose the Precision Reflections engine, which is a plugin that comes with the UA Apollo. And then that is hitting my mic pre. And I'm using the Universal Audio 610, which is a classic vintage mic pre, nice and warm. And then that is going into EMT plate reverb. So I get that classic soundstage kind of reverb. And I love plate reverbs on jazz a lot more than spring. Personal taste, but I just like plates a lot. All right, so let me walk you through all the parameters that I set this to. So starting with the amp here. Okay, if you've ever owned a Tweed Deluxe amp, you know that these break up pretty early and they get pretty woofy and pretty crunchy. And then you combine that with an arch top and a dark sound and P90s. It's kind of a recipe for fuzz guitar real fast, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going into the second input, and that's knocking down 3 dB on the input there. These tend to be very hot pickups, these older P90s here. And I also have the volume set pretty low, okay? Tone set dead center. I could tweak it however I want. If I want it brighter, I can make it brighter, darker, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm using a classic Jensen speaker, which is kind of my favorite sounding speaker for an old Tweed Deluxe. Down here, you can experiment with different mic setups, but I've chosen a 57 and a ribbon microphone for my two microphones. And the reason I chose those was with the 57, I'm getting a little bit more high-end information, a little bit more sparkle, some of the brightness. And then with the ribbon, that's giving me all that nice warm oomph that I really want to hear when I'm hearing jazz. I want a nice, like a lot of body to my guitar sound. Because I have this all set pretty low, I needed to really crank my output volume here. Okay. And I chose this Tweed. You might be asking, well, why did you choose a Tweed amp? Well, I'm going for like a classic jazz sound. I'm not really going for the solid state amplifier. I want to hear a little bit of harmonic distortion. I want to hear a little bit of breakup at times, but I just don't want a distorted amp. So this amp is great for that, but you do have to set it pretty low. But the good thing is you could compensate here with this volume on the way out. All right, so there's my amp. Amp is being heard in a room. And I've chosen this Precision's reflection engine for my room, which I've chosen for a lot of guitar sounds because it's a great room plugin. All right, so here I have a medium-sized room, a little bit on the darker side. Pre-delay is set to where you could hear some of these reflections because when I think of classic jazz records, the room is like a character that's part of the sound. So I really want to have some room tone in here, and I don't want to be shy about it. So you can see with the mix knob, I have it cranked up to almost 50%. So the room is really part of my sound. All right. So now next I go into that Universal Audio 610. Okay. I have the gain set pretty high going in because, again, my volume was set pretty low on the way out here. I didn't really tweak much with this at all. Like the level is set in a way where I'm definitely hitting the preamp, and I'm getting a lot of color from this preamp. This is a very colorful preamp. Again, part of that classic jazz sound. The gear really does impart a lot of color to these records that we've loved. So I have it set to where I'm definitely hearing the preamp. I'm getting a lot of color, but I'm not pushing the preamp that much. Really not at all, but I'm getting in there. Output set kind of low because of where the level is here on the preamp. And my high and low pass filters are, I start with just 0 because I don't know, when I bring up my jazz guitar sound, I don't know what sound I'm going to go for. So I just start dead center with that. I could pull back some of that low end. Here it is, dead center. And then I could boost it a little bit. Ooh, I kind of like that. That might be my new setting there. That's really nice. And then you could tweak, of course, the high pass filter, which will add more high end. Or take away high end if you don't want a lot of that sparkle and the bitiness that comes from a P90. You might want to back that off with that high pass filter. No charge for wrong notes. Free wrong notes here. All right. Everything else is set just like it is when you open up that plugin. I don't need to mess with the pad here at all. And like I said, I pulled the output back a little bit. Onwards, onto this plate reverb. So, like I said, this is something I really love to hear when I'm thinking a classic jazz guitar sound. I want to hear plate reverb. Sometimes I want to hear hall, but most of the time I want to hear plate reverb or a nice echo, like the Capitol Records echo is probably my favorite echo chamber ever. Echo chamber number 4, Capitol Records, is on so many of your favorite records. All right, so for this, I have EQ'd this plate to be on the darker side. Okay, so it's really as dark as you could be over here. Pre-delay is set to a point where, you know, I could hear that delay. It's not necessarily slapping back. You know, it's not stepping on my initial guitar sound. I'm just trying to get it away from my attacks, but not be something that's noticeably after the attack. Hope that makes sense. And then I have it pretty quiet. Again, I'm not looking for something super verby. I'm just looking to add some space. And then the length of it is set pretty long. Okay, you could also EQ these things on the way in and out. If I want to get, like, say, old Hollywood film score, like I'm playing on a Henry Mancini tune, I might turn up that plate a little bit. Maybe I'll make the room bigger, give myself a little bit more room, make the mix of the room a little higher. Now you're really hearing that plate, you're hearing the room. So this is my jazz guitar signal chain. I know if I bring it up, I'm going to get a really nice jazz guitar sound. I know with simple tweaks to all of these plugins, I can get to a wide variety of jazz guitar sounds with a couple of simple little changes here and there. I hope this has been inspiring to you. Feel free to tweak away so you could tailor your guitar sounds to whatever track that you're playing over. Hey, my name is Jason Loughlin. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to subscribe and make sure you ring that bell so we can let you know about new videos when they come out.